Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network. Head for the eastern communications post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility. Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best, boss. The one and only. Our army is growing like crazy thanks to you, boss. In fact, it's getting downright crowded around here. To bring a greater number of people on board, we'll need to expand our facilities. To that end, I've created a base development unit. It has two roles, material refinement and platform construction. I'll start with the material refinement part. The base development unit procures material resources on a regular basis according to its level. The materials are stored in containers and placed on the deck of Mother Base. Once they're finished being processed, they can finally be put to use. By using these materials to build new platforms, we'll be able to add a greater number of staff to our ranks. We don't need any specific instructions from you to refine the materials, but I want you to be the one to decide how we construct platforms. Once we have sufficient GMP and the required material resources, you can issue construction orders from your iDroid. Boss, we've received a back-channel request from Langley. We're to find a piece of new American military hardware that's gone missing in the mountains of Afghanistan. It's a difficult mission, but I'd say you're back in top form by now. Check your iDroid for the details. prisoner at the Wak Sin barracks. You need to find him and get him out. He tried to defect from the base camp up north, but it didn't work out. Now they're holding him at Wak Sin. He's offered his technical skills to us as long as we can guarantee his safety. You have to extract the target.
Boss, your target just happens to be the man who developed your prosthetic hand. And he's the only one capable of maintaining it. If we bring him in, I'm sure he'll be able to modify it in all kinds of ways as well.
Be careful down there, boss.
Extract him. That's the Wak Sin barracks. The target is somewhere inside that outpost. The Soviets consider him a traitor now, so he'll be treated like any other prisoner. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
This war. The Kremlin never expected to have this much trouble against the Mujahideen. Afghanistan is a tribal society. Tradition demands that its people stand up to any outsiders who set foot on their land. With the honor of their people at stake, they have everything to fight for. No matter how hard the Soviets hit them, they continue to appear out of nowhere, striking back, then vanishing again. But there's one thing even the Mujahideen fear. Every last one of them. The Soviet gunships. They're highly maneuverable and equipped with massive firepower. Plus, the underside of the fuselage is heavily armored. The Mujahideen can barely scratch them with their small arms. Anyone who hangs around gets mowed down by the gunship's heavy machine guns. This new honeybee weapon that was given to the Hamid fighters, it's no doubt something to help them strike back against the gunships. Which makes it a weapon that could change.
You gotta extract him.
Those guerrilla fighters known as Mujahideen don't actually belong to a single organization. Afghanistan is a multi-ethnic country. You've got the Pashtuns, the Tajiks, Uzbeks, Hazaras, and each of them is split into their own tribes, large and small. Each ethnicity has several rebel organizations that their various tribes gather under. They're united under the banner of jihad, but that doesn't mean they work like a single standing army. Just look at the area around Smasy Fort. A lot of Tajiks used to live there, but they fled after the Soviets started their Scorched Earth campaign. With the area uninhabited, the Hamid fighters, who are Pashtun, decided to move in. The Hamids are based out of the city of Peshawar. We passed through it on the western edge of Pakistan. The Pashtun people have long lived in Afghanistan.
I've updated the info on your iDroid. Take a look. I hope he's all right.
Then Britain went and established the border that still stands today. The Hamid fighters get generous support from the Pakistani government. The government wants to use them to secure influence over Afghanistan. Their liaison with the Hamids is Inter-Services Intelligence, and behind the
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
That's probably how the honeybee ended up in the hands of the Hamid men.
Kaz. So, Kaz, the ship that took us from Cyprus, it used to be a whaler.
Yeah, a Japanese vessel. How was the voyage?
It was... stimulating.
Well, she was part of a whaling fleet up until a few years ago. Her displacement isn't anything to write home about, but she can really move. She still had plenty of life left in her, but then the work dried up. Global opposition to whaling has been mounting for years.
Is that right?
The push to ban it has been gaining traction for a little over a decade. Individual species came under protection as the years went on. And then 2 years ago, the IWC adopted a moratorium on commercial whaling. Several countries, including Japan, fought it to the bitter end. But eventually, most whaling companies had no choice but to throw in the towel. You ever tried whale snake?
Can't say that I have.
When I was a kid in Japan, practically
Okay, subject is in.
The country was poor in those days, and whale was cheap. International opinions changed since then. In any case, that's why we were able to get a bargain price on the ship. Of course, we did end up spending 5 times the purchase price in modifications. We had to really work to fit in all the ESM and communications gear while keeping the wing intact. Right now, she's going around conducting SIGINT missions. In the future, we plan to use her as a communications relay base between you and Mother Base, and also as a chopper resupply vessel. Diamond dogs. The word diamond originally comes from Greek adamas. It means indomitable, unyielding. Other words for the stones often mean eternal bond, fortitude, or purity. The same is true.
He's coming too. Roger that.
On the boss's grave. They represent innocence, as well as chastity, yielding to no man while maintaining one's virtue. In other words, staying loyal to something.
Ocelot said the number of private forces is increasing, and they've modeled themselves after us.
They're a far cry from the likes of us.
But why? 9 years ago, we made enemies of the world as a nuclear-equipped force, independent of ideology or state.
Yes. Sooner or later, the real UN would have stepped
So why are they giving me a PS?
So your suppressor is worn out. That gun will be as loud as any other now. If you have to shoot, be careful.
in for a lot of people. An organization as big as ours, with our facility wiped off the map. Not an easy thing to hide. But if
You gotta extract him.
the light, so would the names of our clients. We had contracts all over, east and west, from superpowers to banana republics. The lot. Our clients denied all association with the likes of us.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Blow up on them. But at the same time, they missed.
Always keep an escape route in mind when you have wars. If you get surrounded, you'll have nowhere to run.
Blindsided in what happened to us, despite still needing people who could do our jobs. History couldn't afford to lose us. As soon as we were gone, they needed a replacement. So private forces spread everywhere. And they're all just a phone call away.
But still,
I know. PFs are totally different from what we envisioned. Nation-states, revolutionaries, terrorists. They have a lot of clients. And Cypher is one of them. Cypher stays anonymous.
There. That's the target.
I see it. In the eyes of those clients, the world's PFs are all just expendable pawns. The clients don't have to worry about losing their own men. Nobody knows.
Right. If there's nothing in the way overhead, you should be able to pull them in.
The world is chewing up soldiers and spitting them out. Even some of the old Mother Base's survivors are still working for PFs. Some guys created their own smaller forces. Others were taken on by emerging PFs. Everybody's gone their separate ways. But none of them are living their dream. Because they're not fighting with you.
Snake, talk to me! Snake! Snake!
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
That's tarragon, a type of medicinal plant. It contains trace amounts of a benzodiazepine derivative that's the active ingredient in pentazimine.
Those guerrilla fighters know... Snake, do you remember Amanda?
That crack would make a good foothold. You can use crack climbing to make your way up.
Somoza resigned. Nicaragua has a new government. Amanda's really working hard for her country to be reborn.
Good for them.
She says she wishes Chico could be there.
That revolution was the dream. For Amanda, for Chico, and their father.
That chopper was no place for Chico to die. I'd like to at least think history will remember his part in the revolution.
When you pick up a gun, there's always a chance you'll die for nothing. He knew that as well as the rest. Now that he's gone, it's up to the rest of us to decide what it was all worth. If we don't, there's nothing to prove that Chico ever lived at all. We're his mark on the world.
Amanda told us that Strangelove contacted her after the revolutionaries came to power in Nicaragua. Strangelove, the AI researcher from Mother Base?
I remember her.
We'd lost touch with her, till Amanda heard from her out of the blue. She told Amanda she wanted to salvage Peace Walker's dry parts or something from the bottom of Lake Nicaragua. Amanda passed the request on to her friends in the new administration. She's a national hero now, after all. So Strangelove got a Soviet...
He's coming too.
Aircraft
Roger that.
something to somewhere. But apparently the cargo wasn't big enough to have been Peace Walker itself.
So what was it?
Who knows? We recovered Peace Walker's nuclear warhead ourselves 9 years ago. What could Strangelove have been after? Amanda said she didn't mention what her reason was or where she was headed. Nicaragua is a socialist state now. With Amanda vouching for her, the government didn't feel the need to concern itself with the details. All Strangelove told Amanda was that she was going to continue her research, and that the rest was a secret. Right before the attack, Huey was in the control tower.
Okay, subject is in.
He was with them when it all went down. The control tower collapsed with the rest of it strut. His body was never recovered. But he was the one who met the inspection party when they arrived. And he was the one who showed the nuclear inspectors to the tower. You remember the way it went. First he recommends we agree to the inspection. Then he gives them the okay without our permission. All the time acting as if he was doing us a favor. On top of that, he even had the guards disarmed that day. It would send the wrong message, he said. Whatever the angle, it all leads back to Huey. I curse my own stupidity.
You gonna extract him?
Sooner. Huey escaped with that unit by chopper. I've been hunting him for 9 long years. The other reason I was operating around Afghanistan was to dig up his location.
Huey's in Afghanistan?
Yes, and I have a good idea where. Now we just wait for the right moment. This time, we'll be the ones using him. He's going to tell us who our guests really were that used
You
it.
destroyed their anti-air radar?
Our home.
It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate a landing zone near the outpost.
ЗКП, понял. Немедленно все осмотрите. Конец связи.
Boss, you've entered a building. Always keep an escape route in mind when you surrounded, you'll have nowhere to run. That looks like the target.
Это Протез.
Roger.
Это мой шедевр.
So your suppressor is worn out. That gun will be as loud as any other. Great. If there's nothing in the way overhead, you should be able to fold them in.
Биомеханические гибриды.
Roger that.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. Have arrived at LZ. We'll stand by.
You gotta extract him.
Можно сказать.
Target extraction confirmed. Your objective's complete. Exfiltrate out of the hot zone.
Gaining altitude. Departing.
That's the way. Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best, boss. The one and only. The engineer we rescued has been extremely cooperative. The guys on the R&D team are glad to have him aboard. Thing is, his specialty isn't mechanics, but something called bionics, engineering based on biology. He's already submitted a proposal for modifying your prosthetic arm. If you're interested, go ahead and give the development order. As requested, we've added an analyzer function to your binoculars. Now you can use soldiers or POWs and get a readout on their rank or any special skills they might have. Depending on their skills, they may even be able to develop new types of weapons or items. Try it out the next time you're thinking of folding someone. Boss, locate and bring back the U.S. military's new weapon codenamed Honeybee. The CIA put it in the hands of the Hamid group of Mujahideen, but the Hamid fighters were wiped out. The Honeybee must still be hidden at their base, the fort at Desmasi Laman. Unfortunately, the Soviets are looking for the weapon as well. You have to get to it before they do, and bring it back here. There's a photo of the target on your iDroid. One more thing. Apparently one of the Hamid fighters survived. He's missing, but if you can find him, he might lead us to the target. Good luck, boss.
Be careful down there, boss.
We were lucky to get our hands on that cyborg arm developer. There's no one in Diamond Dogs who can so much as maintain that thing.
Bionic arm, not cyborg, if you go by what he calls it. But you're right, the East is light
A
years
Soviet relay base. Think there's something in there that could lead us to the Honeybee?
electrical signals from the brain that order muscles to move. The Soviet Union completed their first bionic arm capable of doing that back in the 60s. Although I guess that news didn't really reach them.
No kidding.
Zadorov's was the only one I ever saw. Quite a shock to see it for the first time.
And it was no mean feat to get hold of Snake's arm. I couldn't get one for you at the time, but now...
Forget it. I've no intention of relying on bionics. Right now I need to keep the pain fresh in my mind.
Well, it's your decision. But don't you find it...
He's coming too. Roger that.
Not a bit. But the phantom pain, it never lets up. Do you know how many men I saw die that day? There's nothing we can
Is that prisoner the Hamid survivor? If he is, he has to know something about the honeybee.
Sorry.
Boss, get down.
Pain belongs to all.
The enemy's slow.
I'll keep living with it for their sake. It'll guide me straight and true until I've gotten them the vengeance they deserve. Snake! Talk to me! Snake!
You need to retrieve the new U.S. military weapon known as the Honeybee. It should be hidden somewhere in Smasei Fort. There's a photo of the Honeybee on your iDroid.
A Soviet relay base. Think there's something in there that could lead us to the Honeybee?
Roger that. Subject on board. Keep it with you. The Soviets are making him take them to the Honeybee. suppressor is worn out. That gun won't be as loud as any other now. If you have to shoot, be careful. A survivor. One of the Hamid. Is he mute? He knows about it. This is our chance. Location of the target. It's on your iDroid. Head on over there and retrieve it.
ЛКП, понял. Будьте наготове. Конец связи.
Snake, I wanted to ask you about the man on fire. What do you remember from the hospital? Anything we can use?
Well, he took off the moment the sprinklers started up.
Sprinklers? The fire system?
And when he got sprayed with water from the burst pipe, it slowed him down.
When we escaped on horseback, he wouldn't cross the river either.
And then it started to rain. And he disappeared.
Water against fire. Is it that simple? I mean, it makes sense. It's just hard to believe it would work on a guy like
You
that.
gotta extract him.
Yeah. 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 Ау! С тобой все в порядке?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Что это? Давай проверим. За мной.
Что ж, что такое? Солдат упал! Я не хочу умирать!
Where are your friends?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Какого? Что там?
You gonna extract him? Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Понял. Всем боевым группам проверить окрестности. Избавиться от чужака. Конец связи.
That's Smasse Fort. The Smasse Lamont. Now to find the honeybee. Anti-air radar. Neutralize that, and our choppers can breathe a little easier.
хочу умирать! Where are your friends? Speak. Speak. Spit it out.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Это КП, понял. Последующие потери неприемлемы.
You gonna extract him?
Конец связи.
Where are your friends? Spit it out. Talk.
He's coming too. Roger that. You gonna extract him?
Какого? Что ж, что такое?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Всем боевым группам, это КП. Мы вступили в схватку с противником. Все боевые единицы приготовиться к бою.
You destroyed their anti-air radar? It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate a landing zone near the outpost.
Всем постам, это командир. Внешняя радиосвязь вышла из строя. Мы не можем вызывать подкрепление с других аванпостов. Окопайтесь и удержите позиции своими силами. Конец связи. Сам, это КП. Понадеялся огонь.
Looks like the enemy's lost.
Who would have thought they'd hide us there?
Шпрезы поблизости.
You secured the target. Now you just need to bring it back. Call the chopper from your iDroid. You are not to use the honeybee. The order was to recover it with its ammunition.
Это КП. Сам, прием.
You look well rested, big boss. My, how you've changed. You became a demon for such little weapons as that? Well, I'm sure you'll see the bigger picture eventually. If you get out of here alive. Rest in peace this time. I'll see you in hell, boss.
What's he doing to that soldier?
Skulls are too fast. If he had a homing weapon. Boss, maybe it's time to see what the honeybee can do.
Looks like they're gone. Then bring the target back. Roger. He's coming too. Roger that. You gotta extract him. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
This is Pequod. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
All right, get in. Time to go. He's coming too. Roger that.
Gaining altitude.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Mission complete, boss. So this unit in the mist, their speed, the way they jump, it's not human. And those deformities,
They attacked the Soviets, too.
and that Grim Reaper look-alike in charge of them, that giant thing that carried him off. What the hell are they?
Cypher.
What do they want? What's their objective? Why Afghanistan? There's one more thing troubling me.
What happened to the Hamid?
Exactly. Whole squads of hardened Mujahideen killed without a fight, and no trace of BC weaponry. What does it all mean?
That's what we're here to find out.
Yeah, right. If we really need to know, the truth will reveal itself. Even if it's ugly. Boss, I'm creating a new intel team to support you in our areas of operation. Members of this team will head out into the field and conduct reconnaissance. Knowing the strength of an enemy force beforehand will help you carry out missions more smoothly. We may also learn something about the skull-faced man. So boss, that brings me to assigning staff to the intel team. There might be guys already assigned to other teams who are more suited to the intel team. Go ahead and reassign them as you see fit. Remember the guys you brought back from the base in Cuba 9 years ago? Believe it or not, some of them survived that hell we went through. Word reached them that Big Boss is back and they wanted in. They're good men, our brothers in fate. They'll be glad to know you've seen them here. The dog you brought back. There'll come a day when he'll be ready to join you on missions. But you know, he gets lonely easily. You should come visit him every once in a while. Get back to Mother Base.
See that? Now that's discipline. Following orders like a real diamond dog. Soon he'll be... Hey, no! Stay! Stay! Didi! Go! Maybe not yet. But soon. Soon.
Boss, we've had some new job offers come in. I've selected the ones I'd like you to handle and added them to the list. Take a look on your iDroid. The more missions you complete, the more we can expand Mother Base.
The Sequan! On station at LZ! Gaining altitude.
Members of the intel team are on the ground. Their reports will be reflected as predicted enemy fields of movement on your iDroid's map. The higher the team's level, the more accurate and frequent their reports will become. Be sure to take advantage of them. news from the support unit. They can now deliver support strikes to our areas of operation. Use your iDroid to designate a location for a strike. Just make sure you're not in the kill zone. I'd hate to tell the men they blew up the boss. After you've called in a strike, move away from the target location immediately. Also, like supply drops, strikes cost GMP. So once you don't put us in the red, remember what our real objective is.
Team analyzed the Honeybee. How? The CIA wanted it with everything intact. They took it apart to look at it. Then they put it back together. Everything intact. That's the R&D boys, all right. Turns out the Honeybee's homing capabilities are a cut above previous manpads. It can detect a broad range of infrared wavelengths and even ultraviolet for supplementary guidance. Hence the name, huh? Right. Honeybees rely on UV light to fly. With this device, flares don't do the target any good. That's why the Soviets are losing so many gunships, and why the CIA was so desperate to get it back. It wasn't just about preventing the Soviets from devising countermeasures. What if the likes of Iran got their hands on it? American aircraft would be put at risk too. We can use this tech to develop our own portable missile. That'll give us a huge advantage. It'll take a little time before the analysis results can be applied to actual implementation. But we'll keep moving with the research.
Эй! Что ты там запалил?
He's coming too. Roger that.
Комплект, это Дмитрий-1. Какого-то бедолагу унесло на воздушном шаре. Возможно, на базе лазутчик. Жду указания. Прием! Это КП. Понял. Усилить безопасность и найти нарушителя. Конец связи.
That's the target. He's coming too. Roger that.
ЗКП, понял. Не расслабляйтесь. Они еще могут быть рядом. Конец связи.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Эй, смотри!
КП, это Зоя-2! Неизвестные выстрелы! Откуда сказать не могу! Прием! Это КП, понял. Все единицы. Будьте бдительны и найдите нарушителей. Конец связи.
He's coming too. Roger that. Out of ammo? Let the support unit help out if you need to restock. Transmit a request from your iDroid and I'll send supplies right away.
КП, это Зоя-2! Слышу, направление определено! Жду распоряжений! Прием! Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выкройте врага. Конец связи.
intel team specializes in information gathering, mainly HUMINT and SIGINT. They plant scouts and moles in the field. These operatives will blend into the local populace and work under the guise of a resident, or disguise themselves as travelers and ask around for information. They observe targets using various hidden bugs, cameras, and transmitters, and by tapping their satellite and phone communications. Analyzing all this information creates a clear picture of how wars and the PFs fighting them are changing. This data can also be used for threat assessment when deciding whether to accept contracts from certain clients. And during missions, the intel team keeps track of target locations and produces FOM predictions, reporting mission-critical information based on real-time remote observation of changes in the AO. What you hear from us over the radio is based on how we interpret the data gathered at the command platform. However, intel team operatives go unarmed in almost all situations to avoid revealing themselves to the enemy. Some will carry a knife, but most have nothing at all. As such, don't expect them to help you take on heavily armed adversaries like PF soldiers. Think of them as entirely passive in the hot zone. Plus, they use all manner of techniques to remain inconspicuous in the field. If you ever spot one, you'll have some serious explaining to do. So remember, their specialty is espionage. They may not be of use in a firefight, but when it comes to intel, they're pros.
That's the target. Is that one of our men from 9 years ago? Bring him home, boss.
Diamond Dog's intel team specializes in information gathering, mainly HUMINT and SIGINT. They plant scouts and moles in the field. These... Snake. Amanda told us that right before the attack, Huey was in the control tower to prepare for the inspectors. He was with them when it all went down. The control tower collapsed with the rest of its strut. His body was never recovered, but he was the one who met the inspection party when they arrived. And he was the one who showed the nuclear inspectors to the tower. You remember the way it went. First, he recommends we agree to the inspection. Then he gives them the okay without our permission, all the time acting as if he was doing us a favor. On top of that, he even had the guards disarmed that day. It would send the wrong message, he said. Whatever the angle, it all leads back to Huey. I curse my own stupidity for not realizing sooner. Huey escaped with that unit by chopper. I've been hunting him for 9 long years. The other reason I was operating around Afghanistan was to dig up his location.
Huey's in Afghanistan?
Yes, and I have a good idea where. Now we just wait for the right moment. This time, we'll be the ones using him. He's going to tell us who our guests really were that used a fake nuclear inspection to blast our home into the ocean. Snake. Do you remember Amanda?
Yeah, I do.
Their revolution was a success. Somoza resigned. Nicaragua has a new government. Amanda's really working hard for her country to be reborn.
Good for them.
She says she wishes Chico could be there.
That revolution was the dream. For Amanda, for Chico, and their father.
That chopper was no place for Chico to die. I'd like to at least think history will remember his part in the revolution.
When you pick up a gun, there's always a chance you'll die for nothing. He knew that as well as the rest. Now that he's gone, it's up to the rest of us to decide what it was all worth. If we don't, there's nothing to prove that Chico ever lived at all. We're his mark on the world.
Amanda told us that Strangelove contacted her after the revolutionaries came to power in Nicaragua. Strangelove, the AI researcher from Mother Base?
I remember her.
We'd lost touch with her, till Amanda heard from her out of the blue. She told Amanda she wanted to salvage Peace Walker's drive parts, or something from the bottom of Lake Nicaragua. Amanda passed the request on to her friends in the new administration. She's a national hero now, after all. So Strangelove got a Soviet military aircraft to transport something to somewhere. But apparently the cargo wasn't big enough to have been Peace Walker itself.
So what was it?
Who knows? We recovered Peace Walker's nuclear warhead ourselves 9 years ago. What could Strangelove have been after? Amanda said she didn't mention what her reason was or where she was headed. Nicaragua is a socialist state now. With Amanda vouching for her, the government didn't feel the need to concern itself with the details. All Strangelove told Amanda was that she was going to continue her research.
You gonna extract him?
It was a secret. Right before the attack, Huey was in the control tower to prepare for the inspectors. He was with them when it all went down. The control tower collapsed with the rest of it struck.
Yeah!